Some places surprise you. Even if you've been traveling nearly non-stop for 15 years like me, there are places that snap you out of your comfortable worldview, take your assumptions and your prejudices, and turn them upside down. They lead you to believe that maybe there is hope in the world. Senegal is one of those places.
I took a walk through this beautiful world, felt the cool rain on my shoulder, found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
At first, you see what you see in so many places in Africa. The noisy streets, busy markets, the controlled, consensual chaos of daily commerce. But look just a little bit longer, a little bit deeper, and you'll see it's so different here from its neighbors, from anywhere, really. A rebuke to those who paint a whole continent as a monolith of despair, or Islam as something to be feared. Senegal turns simple-minded assumptions and prejudice on their heads at every turn.
How did you come to know and like and love this country?
I think it was just listening and watching and thinking, gosh, this is quite different to all the other countries I know. For a start, the language. You've heard Wolof?
Yes.
Sometimes you think people were quarreling.
Right.
And they're not. They're loving. They're laughing.
Ophebia Quist-Arcton is the NPR Africa correspondent. She's of Ghanaian descent, but has made Dakar, the Senegalese capital, her home for over 10 years.
The Senegalese are easy to get on with, and they care about you. And I guess that's what we all want as human beings, isn't it? To be loved, to be cherished, and I've found that here. I won't be here forever, because I'm from Ghana, but I will be visiting forever, because there are no two Senegals. I mean, c'est vraiment un pays extraordinaire. I think the Senegalese are extraordinary. They're open. They welcome you. And for me, that about makes a good place to live.
I fear I come with this assumption that Senegal will be yet another failed state, or yet another state that has gone through a really terrible post-colonial period that never really, that transitioned badly.
You'll know that Senegal is one of the few countries never had a coup d'etat. And I think that just makes such a huge difference to a nation. We're in a 90+% Muslim country.
Right.
Their first president, a Catholic, who governed for 20 years. And of course, there were elements of repression, but not as we've seen in many other African countries.
Europeans first reached West Africa in the mid-15th century, bringing with them the usual things: an industrialized slave trade, subjugation, the rule of the many by the very few. In the carving up of a continent, it was France that got Senegal. And commanding a favored status within France's West African colonial holdings, the Senegalese gained full rights as French citizens in the late 1800s. With independence in 1960, power passed bloodlessly and with stunning cordiality. Though overwhelmingly a Muslim country, Senegal elected Léopold Senghor, a Catholic, as their first president. And from that time on, Senegal has enjoyed a moderate political and religious climate unique almost anywhere in the world.
Well, food is great when cultures meet, because the colonial power brought their food culture. I think that's what makes great food. And Senegal is great for that because of its geographical location. It's a crossroad. I think that's what makes the food quite unique here.
Pierre Cham is a chef, restaurateur, and cookbook author who was born and raised here at Dakar. His books are absolutely fundamental references when investigating Senegalese cuisine.
This is Senegalese favorite fish. It's called chof. It kind of tastes like grouper, so I think we should have it. Grilled fish.
Senegal has famously delicious food, flavors and often ingredients that should be eerily familiar to any fan of Southern cooking. We meet at Cour de Cassation Beach, serving food just the way I like it. A shack on the water, catch of the day, cooked up out back.
This whole thing is illegal, actually.
Right.
They don't have
But
a
I mean, they
license.
continuously operate. I mean, it's
But every
technically-
once in a while I come and it's closed, the police shuts them down.
right. And then they come
And
back.
then they come back, it's-
Oh, these are supposed to be good, right? This is local beer.
It's a
It's
local
the finest of the local beer.
Well, it's considered the people's beer. It's the cheapest one.
Oh, well,
Yes.
figures. I'm a cheap date. Do you want to hide these?
Actually,
and,
they just put it under the table, actually.
you know what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Welcome to Dakar.
Thank you. So, I'm really interested in your story. I mean, you were born here,
Yeah, right here, Dakar.
right here in Dakar.
Uh-huh.
Went to New York.
Yes.
I mean, I'm jumping ahead some, but
First job in New York was a restaurant job, like
Of course.
every immigrant.
right.
I was a busboy actually, but from a busboy, just fell in love with what was happening behind the kitchen. Because I come from a culture where kitchen is a women activity. So it's like I'd never seen men cooking.
What was the type of cuisine you were learning?
Mostly American, continental American, and
Yeah.
then it turned into Jean-Claude with French bistro.
Right.
And from Jean-Claude, Boom opened around the corner. It was like early
Wait a minute,
90s.
Boom on Spring Street.
On Spring Street.
Okay, wait a minute. Now, I used to work at that store before it was called WPA. So we work in the same restaurant kitchen.
Same kitchen.
Downstairs,
basement
kitchen was downstairs. Yeah.
I can't believe this, man. Because Boom was really the defining moment for me. And Boom had like this global ethnic / Italian.
So you saw a window to start introducing West African flavors.
Yeah,
And it worked. People were receptive to that.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Tonight we're having yassa, made with the local fish called chof. Cooked simply, on the bone, wrapped in foil and steamed over the fire. Served with a mignonette-type sauce of onions.
Oh, yeah.
Grilled mussels, sea urchin.
Grilled mussels, cool. Yeah. Oh, that's good. I'm starving. I mean, I'm really hungry. So, what distinguishes Senegalese cuisine from the neighbors?
I think we have the best food in the continent.
You've traveled in the American South?
Yeah.
I mean, you notice some things about the food?
That's familiar.
It's
familiar.
I mean, look, like shrimp and grits. Okay, I mean, I've eaten shrimp and grits in Africa many times. I mean, they call it something else.
Exactly. I think the most interesting part of American food is our contribution.
How did you feel when you first turned on TV and you see some, rich white lady and she said, well, we're about to do, this is an old family recipe, an American classic, a traditional favorite. And you said, wait a minute, that's
mine.
that's mine. I mean, happy, proud, pissed off, what?
Oh yeah, proud, happy to, no, not pissed off. No, I wasn't never pissed off. I thought, I think food is such a great way of uniting people, It's like breaking barriers. Food is not only about feeding yourself here. In Senegal, it's a whole culture. The most important value is what we call teranga. The more you share, the more your bowl will be plentiful. It's not how much you have, it's how much you give. That's what matters in Senegal. So teranga is that culture.
The call to prayer, 5 times a day, every day, but Friday at 2 p.m. is the most important. Dakar shuts down as people head to the mosque. The invocation of the muezzin reverberates throughout the city. The mosques fill to capacity. People spill onto the sidewalks and streets. They pray where they can. In Senegal, the majority of people are Sufi Muslims, practicing a mystic form of Islam, which is often considered more tolerant.
Senegal is very different from other countries. We are very tolerant. We also have, in Senegalese family, Christian married to Muslim, Muslim married to Christian. So you don't really know exactly who's Christian, and you don't really know who's Muslim.
It is a comfortable assumption that Islam is oppressive to women, that it allows no room for personal expression, that it forces women to hide themselves. These ladies, however, make that argument more complicated. Fama Diouf is a photographer. Umi Nador is a journalist and television presenter. Mignel Tall is an entrepreneur and owner of a group of salons. As the country changes, many, if not most, have adopted the cultural values and styles of the West. However, 2 of these women have chosen to wear the traditional hijab. A lot of people who watch this, particularly women, look at the hijab in particular as an instrument, at very least as an instrument of male oppression. What would you say to them?
For me, religion is a personal thing, and I decided to get this. So why people keep on asking me every day why?
Well, I think the simple answer is that what to you is a personal lifestyle choice looks to much of the world like a political choice.
It is a choice for me.
Yeah.
So some of Senegalese girls, they have choice to wear Western clothes. I have also the right to wear Arab fashion.
In a way, the reason behind it for every Muslims will be modesty. Whether you come from a rich background or a poor background, people should not judge you on the way you dress. She doesn't want you to be like, oh my gosh, I loved her hair. Oh, the earrings. Oh, the watch. No. You see us as something threatening, but we are just here in peace.
What about women's roles here traditionally? In many of the African countries that I've been to, often you will see the man walking up front and behind the wife and the children, carrying the bucket of water or, laden down, doing the work.
I mean, here in the car, you're not gonna see it.
You say that with determination.
Oh yeah, I am definitely sure for that. Okay.
As if you will personally ensure that you won't.
Yes. Seriously, I think it's time for women to change the face of Senegal.
Why not now?
They're not ready for that right now.
Why not? What's missing?
You will have powerful women like arguing for what we call parité here, so gender balance. And then you take that same woman and you tell her that her son is supposed to start cooking and doing the laundry. Laundry is even worse.
Sorry, what's wrong with that?
So for a Senegalese woman, taking care of her man and treating him as a king is part of who she is, and she's taking proud out of it.
It's too easy to be a boy here in Senegal. Nothing.
There's been men in the position of presidential, but we can have also a woman in the head of Senegal. If we don't try, we will never know.
Sometimes we get lucky. We get to do things on this show just because it's a show that are frankly awesome. Like this, a small restaurant in Dakar, the delicious smells of Senegalese cooking coming from the kitchen, a band.
Si madu umuge nangana lo fete madu nyanga duga nangana lo fete. Dekaliko Jelati fi tay ñu bolé ko muju su ëllëgé si biir yu gën a ne ñun ñu bokk ko.
Youssou N'Dour, one of the most beloved musicians on the African continent, famous throughout the world for blending traditional music of the region with Cuban rumba, American jazz, and R&B. Mbalax, as it came to be known, has had an enormous influence on musicians worldwide, like that Sting guy, Tracy Chapman, and St. Bruce of Asbury, and most famously, his frequent collaborator, Peter Gabriel.
People start to talk about you when you were age 12, when you started to perform professionally.
Yeah.
But did you come from a musical tradition?
My mom, she's a griot. Griot are the storytellers. They are also singers, rappers, and everything. And I grew with my grandmom. She was a big singer. She gave me a lot of things. And from there, going to the school for 2 years, then left the school and start my career.
Tonight we are having a beef mafe, which is a stew thickened with ground peanuts. There are similar preparations throughout West Africa, but the Senegalese version is particularly great. Sear the beef, cook the onion, garlic, peppers, and carrots, deglaze with ground peanuts and broth, bringing up all that good stuff from the pan, then simmer until tender and awesome. Serve hot over rice.
Wow.
Ah.
That looks good.
That's good. Good. Thank you.
Wow, this is very, very good.
The symbol of connection Mali and Senegal is the mafe. These things you can appreciate here, you can appreciate in the Mali also.
So what's the future?
Future?
The future, 20 years from now. Where will Senegal be?
What I hope is in 20 years, Senegal is going to be the place for great and big contribution of what we call Islam.
Do you think there's any danger of the kind of radical Islam that we see taking hold in many places in Africa?
All these people who are using the religion, Muslim religion, to do bad things, I think Senegal have an example. I think this country have models of the religion. This country, you know, you are here, I'm doing my local bisap, and you are with your beer. And in country, 95% Muslim. And I think this example can help the world.
I hope so. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Jërëjëf. Merci. Thank you.
stopped. That's what it seems like in the city of Saint Louis when the sun is at its highest and the streets are empty. 160 miles up the coast from Dakar, the one-time capital was a hub for all French West Africa, an important port at the mouth of the Senegal River.
S'il vous plaît, un baguette comme ça.
Every culture has an iconic, much-loved street food, the kind of thing you yearn for when you're away. We have our dirty water hot dogs in New York. Here, they have Ndambe.
Ndambe, s'il vous plaît.
What people have described as a bean sandwich, but what is really a spread of spicy lentils on a baguette. You buy your baguette at the bakery, bring it over to the nice lady. She slathers on the good stuff, and there you go. And it is indeed addictively delicious.
Je crois qu'on ne peut bien comprendre le cas de Saint-Louis, la situation de Saint-Louis, on ne peut bien le comprendre que si on connaît bien la géographie. Parce que ce qui a fait cette ville, de mon point de vue, c'est son fleuve. Parce que c'est un fleuve qui dessert 5 pays. Mali, Mauritanie, Sénégal bien sûr, Guinée.
So everything came through here.
Qui sont
Attitudes about many things are decidedly different here. Where many post-colonial cultures are ambivalent or conflicted about their bloodlines, picking black or white to identify with, here people are proud of who they are and where they came from. All of it.
I'm curious why the post-colonial experience in Senegal is so different than the post-colonial experience almost everywhere else.
I think that the pre-colonial and the colonial experience in Senegal is different also. Not only the post-colonial experience, because Saint Louis had lots of influences, I think.
Arab, Portuguese.
Before that, Portuguese and English first.
Yes.
They were here. And after that, from the Morocco.
My feeling also is that because we're at the crossing of various roads, independently from the colonization period, makes the Senegalese people very open-minded, very good negotiator also.
Marie-Caroline Camara is a Saint Louis métisse, Senegalese father, French mother, and she's hosted a lunch with some friends and colleagues, all of whom consider themselves Senegalese first, before anything.
And my feeling compared to other African countries is that maybe it's come also from the Wolof women, because the Métis family here, people were really married.
But at least
between Wolof and other groups.
You know, compared to West Indies, where even if people had, some white people had children with their slaves, they were not recognized. Here, all these children and unions were recognized. Yes. So for me, that is very special.
The most richest in Senegal is our culture. It's not petrol, oil, or other thing. I think that is our culture, our type of life, our customs.
Music.
Music, yes, our culinary art.
Okay, so we're eating mulet farci à la Saint-Louisienne.
Lovely.
It's a big fish from the river.
Mullet farci, stuffed mullet, the fish deboned and filled with a seafood farce of fish, herbs, vegetables, and bread, and baked.
It's an amazing meal. Delicious.
Amazing meal?
Yes, really good. So, how are things in Senegal today?
How things? What kind of things?
Is the environment good for business in Senegal now? Is it getting better? I mean, there seems to be a lot of money coming in Dakar. You see buildings going up. Somebody's building.
The key thing for me will be the development of businesses. And because when you look at all these young people in Saint Louis, and there is no companies to employ them, let the young people take a big part of the power, which is not in our tradition, but we need the young people to be strong.
If you could compare yourself to someplace else in another major city in the world,
Yes.
the New York of Western Africa?
The Hong Kong of West Africa.
Oh, no, ouch. Yeah, you're right.
Kuilal ma demba machangayo ni kuilal datsai kuilal sama domje ayo be yo kuilal ma demba machangayo ni kuilal datsai kuilal sama domje feral sai rongoñ.
C'est trop beau.
Money. You like it, I like it, we all like it. And there's a flood of green pouring into the developing world. Greed-head foreign speculators for sure, but also entrepreneurs, often educated abroad, but returning to build businesses around a growing middle class. Telecoms to financial institutions to the restaurants that grow up around them. Maquis were once neighborhood working-class dive bars. Now, many are becoming more respectable drinking establishments. The Brooklynization of Africa begins.
Cheers.
I joined Pierre, his film professor brother Christian Cham, and their friend Patma Jauji, a local businessman.
Who is joining the middle class in Senegal? Where are they coming from?
Most of the people are local people who now get proper training.
Right.
And then you have a small group of guys like us who went abroad and are coming back.
Now, a phenomena that I have seen in other countries in West Africa is one where people leave either because of war, oppression, necessity, financial, education, and when they come back, there is resentment. How do they feel about people like you who go and come back?
You know, unlike most other places, over here, there's a tremendous amount of pride in your family. Senegalese rarely go and just cut off.
Yeah, it's true. No, that's true. But in addition to people who go, they send money back home.
There's more money coming from the immigrants than the money that we receive from the World Bank or IMF or everything like that.
Why is this the case in Senegal? Where does this attitude come from?
It's just the nature of the social fabric. It's not an individualistic society.
What about the French colonial experience? That too, was it different than?
It's
very different from Senegal to the other countries.
Because the French use Senegal as their anchor for their colonial expansion. The French then said, okay, you Senegalese, we're going to train you up to borderline high school education, and you're going to be the forefront, the fulcrum of our administrative service. So if you go to Cote d'Ivoire, you go to Burkina, a lot of the guys who are running the administration were Senegalese.
I think one of the major differences between Senegal and the other countries, not that we're better or anything like that, but in Senegal, it's probably one of the only countries in West Africa, or probably in all Africa, where I can be from one ethnic group and he can be from a different ethnic group. But we can talk without French, using a local language and understand each other, because everybody speaks Wolof.
I happen to believe that this world is going to be a better place when more cultures are actually given a chance to be put at the table.
Each generation has its mission. We have a saying in one of the say, Yalla Bakh, that means God is great.
And we always say it when there is no solution, to say, oh, yalla baax na, and you leave it in the hand of God. But we tell people, this is in our hand. This is our future and the future of the next generation coming.
As relatively good as things have been for Senegal, democracy, as it turns out, requires regular maintenance, diligence needed, and the willingness to stand up. Jilly Baghdad is a musician and activist who's doing what, well, the last poets and Chuck D and others have done before him. Say things that are important, loudly, and often. They call him debiteri, and debi is generally grilled spiced lamb, hacked into pieces and served on grease-stained paper with grilled onions and mustard on the side.
Well, that was quick. From the beginning, I mean, was there always like a social justice political component to what you were doing musically?
From day one. The first thing we did was go do a campaign called My Voting Card, My Weapon. And we did songs and we did mobile concerts all over the country to raise awareness. And it was the bum rush in the registering spots. Everybody went to register. That's a step. As little as it could seem, that's a step into being conscious of what your power is.
In 2012, then-President Abdoulaye Wade fell victim to the maybe I should be president for life syndrome that afflicts so many of his neighbors. He proposed amending the Constitution so that he could run for a third term, as well as creating a new vice presidential position which many feared he intended for his son. Jilly and many, many young people like him were having none of it. They formed a group called Y'en a marre, or Fed Up. Using music as a draw and a hook, they threw enormous rallies across the country, made aggressive and innovative use of social media, all in the cause of getting out the vote and shutting anti-democratic initiatives down. It worked.
I know that like with this civic movement that we started and raising awareness, I think the African Union of people can start from here, because this is amazing. The new generation will learn from what we've done, and maybe the next president might not be a politician at all. You never know.
Obvious question, why don't you run for office?
No, I'm not an aspiring politician, not at all. But I can see myself helpful for my community. We have everything to emerge. It's about believing in ourselves and trusting ourselves that we can do it.
Lac Rose, known for its pink hue and salt harvesters, sits near the Senegalese coast. And not too long ago was also the finish line for a legendary Trans-African endurance race.
Okay? Yeah, great. No problem.
Driving up to 10,000 grueling kilometers from Paris, south through Spain, across Morocco, down the Western Sahara, all the way to, well, right here. The Paris-Dakar Rally tested its drivers like no other race, sometimes driving over 20 hours a day over ground like this.
So this is the same road that the rally Paris-Dakar took.
Jean Hazard is a Senegalese of Lebanese descent who grew up here watching the final stretch of the race. It was a galvanizing event for him. He has since completed the race himself 3 times.
When I was young, I came with my parents to see the arrival of the Paris-Dakar race.
Yeah.
That's why I like to make races.
It's been 8 years since specially modified true off-road vehicles with powerful engines and cutting-edge designs roared across the desert and through tiny African villages. I, of course, had to try out one of these beasts, and it's about as much fun as you can have while wearing pants.
Where am I going?
Just it's nice.
Just like this.
First time?
Good pace, yeah. It's like driving in snow.
Yes.
After terrassing around for a few hours, it's traditionally chicken and beer on the beach. We're joined by Jean's fellow Paris-Dakar racers, Mamles Jallow and Abdou Cham.
My friend Mamles made 12 times the Paris-Dakar.
12 times?
With bike.
Motorbike. On a motorbike?
Yeah.
Wow. So what happened? It stopped in...
The last race was in 7. In 8...
2007.
Yeah. In 2008, we were at the start, and we didn't start.
That's right.
We didn't
They
start.
canceled the race.
In 2008, officials shut the event down with racers from all over the world at the starting line, a response to the murder of 4 French citizens in Mauritania and to the discovery of potential terrorist threats against the race in the region. The race, now called the Dakar Rally, was moved off the African continent and currently runs much of the length of South America.
But will it come back? What do you think?
Here in Senegal?
Yeah.
Never.
Whoa!
I hope so.
Never.
Why? Why? Why never?
Because these people, when they live, they did it not in a fair way.
So you think they don't deserve to have it back?
No.
But is there still racing here? Within the country? Within Senegal? I mean, you race.
We have, after South Africa, the second circuit in all over Africa. It's very, very, very important for us, for Africa, and it's exceptional for us. How do you like the chicken? It's okay?
Oh man, it's good. Are you kidding me? Hitting it hard. So you told me before that if I wanted to, I could get in the car and drive to Saint Louis.
To Saint Louis.
That way.
How long will that take?
C'est plus court.
Flat out.
An hour and a half.
Let's go.
You're in
Let me
Senegal.
finish my chicken.
Pierre Cham's Aunt Marie is the matriarch of the family. She often hosts uncles, aunts, sons and daughters, friends and relatives from near and abroad.
Teranga is hospitality. That's the translation. But it's the most important value is really the way you treat the other. Love. You receive love. That's what Teranga is. So today you are our guest, so you'll be treated with our national dish.
Everyone comes together, often over this iconic dish, Ceebu-jën, which in Wolof means simply rice with fish. It's pretty much the national dish of Senegal. Today, it's Senegalese grouper, scored and stuffed with a mixture of garlic, parsley, and peppers, then slow simmered in a hearty tomato broth, infused with a funkatizing goodness brought by fermented conch and saltfish, served over rice and vegetables.
I'm going to watch you and I'm going to do what you do.
Let's do it. Let's go.
The meal is eaten from one communal platter, an experience both fun and instructive, sustenance and life lesson.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that sauce is awesome.
Normally, children are not allowed to talk and to go too far in the middle of the plate.
So they got to eat around the edges?
So you will have an adult, the mother or an aunt or something, cutting pieces of fish or meat for them.
It's a way to teach them to be content with their portion. You know, not only children, but everyone. You have to imagine a triangle in front of you, and that's the triangle that is your limit to the bowl. Right. And you have to chew slowly. You have to be patient. So all these values are taught when we eat around the bowl.
So if I were looking for a metaphor for a Senegalese society, this would be it?
This is it. This is Senegalese society. Senegal is a special country.
Mangi wo bepp doomu Afrique. Ñu bokk xalaat, bokk gis-gis, bokk yéene. We are Africa.
A few years back, I got the words, "I am certain of nothing," tattooed on my arm. It's what makes travel what it is, an endless learning curve, the joy of being wrong, of being confused. Africa, more than any other continent, needs to be seen by the world as both the place we all came from and where we are going.
Walk together, keep on walking. Chef Anta Diop, Kwame Nkrumah, Stephen Biko, Nelson